In the previous video, I explained the theory of constraints in plain English. In this video, I want to go through the 5 steps of successful implementation for the theory of constraints. So it starts with identifying the constraint. Based on my steel fabrication company, we identify the constraint as the welding bays. Welding is a slow process, you can't increase it, finding welders isn't easy, and most of the quality depended on that process. So it was an easy choice, so we have identified the system constraint. The next point is to exploit that constraint without any major investment. And that is where you can use lean principles, all the markings on the floor and ensuring that the tools are within arm's reach without having to walk too far. That is where you try and maximize the efficiency of that process, the constraint. The next third step is to subordinate everything else, both upstream and downstream. What this means is that you basically have to have spare capacity before and after the process, as explained in the theory of constraints in plain English video. We do this so that the constraint is never suffocating. There's no need for the constraint to wait because there's always some material waiting. And then on the other hand, there's nothing that is building up downstream that would stop the bottleneck or the constraint from operating. Remember that the definition of the bottleneck is that time lost on the bottleneck is time lost forever. So you basically can't make up the lost time. Next, once you've subordinated every other process, you then invest into elevating that constraint. So this might mean some major investment, better machines, and maybe more units, maybe even add more space, as in rent out more factory floor. And then the final step is to repeat. Why? Well, because once you elevate one constraint and subordinated everything else, you reach a breaking point where suddenly the constraint has moved somewhere else. And this is called a wandering bottleneck, or in other words, you basically have fires popping up in different areas randomly in your business. So then obviously you go back to number 1. Bear in mind that you repeat the process only if you want to and need to grow. The whole idea and the strength of the theory of constraints is that when you stop at this stage, and probably even here, you then have an easy control of the entire company, because everything in the company is set up to support the constraint. Therefore, you won't have all the drama that happens in businesses with fires popping up everywhere and then having to step in, micromanage, and then you being overwhelmed. So that is why if you are limited by, let's say, space or market saturation, you would stop at number 3. However, if you want to grow, and I've been through multiple cycles like this, you then go and then look at whether the constraint hasn't moved. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to subscribe to this channel because there will be plenty more content around the theory of constraints, AI in manufacturing, and everything else that you need to grow a successful manufacturing business.